Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Now today we're going to be talking about Broken Arrow, a game with so much promise, with such an amazing start, but a bit of a downfall. So what we're going to talk about today is the issues, what makes it great, and you know what, I actually want to be a bit positive today, and what the future of optimistic Broken Arrow looks like. And actually I've got some exclusive early access screenshots of units to come. So let's talk a bit more about it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the happiness of the players, i.e. the reviews. So this is all of Steam, this is SteamDB, here's the website. Feel free to check it all out. Let's have a look at the little reviews that we've got. I don't want to watch this video. Let's go recent reviews, shall we? 43%, that is awful. That is actually like for such a good. By the way, let me start by saying that I do absolutely love this game. I really do. There's so much that I love about this game, but 43% in the last 30 days is, to be honest, probably an accurate representation. So let's have a look at what people are saying. So, yeah, Beagle, he's obviously a guy that I get along with quite well. He has given it a positive review, but this was obviously 27th of July, quite a while ago. I wonder if his review has changed. We actually did a video together about, it's like an hour and 20 minutes long, talking about literally doing it. You know, one of those classic Steam checkbox reviews. We do that, but in talking, so it's actually quite good. Feel free to check it out. Check out Beagle's channel as well. He's a good lad. We'll give yes, his review is helpful. Here's another friend of mine, Maximich. He's on the Discord. By the way, shout out to my Discord. Feel free to join it. The link is here and here. So we'll put it up on the screen, and it's always in the description below. However, let's look at the more generic reviews. 100 hours. How many hours do I have on record, I wonder? Probably, wow, 860 hours. Yeah, let's just quickly look at this, and then I'll put up on my screen, on the screen here, how many hours I have done. So yeah, a lot of people are not happy with a lot of things, and I think to summarize it, it goes down to three things really. Number one, people deserting. Deserters should be lined up against a wall and shot. Right, there we go. No leave of penalty. I think this guy actually, Mr. Moonlight, sums it up pretty well. So it's crazy to see people putting it not recommended, despite having so many hours on the game. And you know what? I'm on the fence. I'm very close to giving it a thumbs down, but I do just love it a bit too much to do that. So I don't want to do that to the game just yet. But look, there's a lot of complaints, and the thing is, the core game. Yeah, I mean, this is planned. This is all planned, mate. Don't you worry. But the core game itself is fantastic. So number one we said was people deserting. Deserters are terrible, as are sport players, but you know, that's not part of the game really. I mean, it's not a problem with the game. It's a hate the player, not the game kind of situation. Anyway, I'll stop hating on support players for the rest of this video. Number two, I think, is cheaters. I have seen some myself. It's not fun. It just ruins the game. Cheaters ruin everything. Number three, no surrender button. The thing is, simple quality of life things, like a surrender button, like a saving in the campaign, like actual skirmishes, you know, that's, like, how hard can that be to implement? And you know what? I mean, yeah, genuinely, this game is a big mess. I don't know, it's such a shame. The game is absolutely fantastic. The best game I've ever played for RTS. And to be honest, I'd be close to saying it's the best game I've played ever. I mean, look at me. I've got a YouTube channel dedicated to the thing. 13th of August. I wonder what updates or patches came out then. Let's have a look back at SteamDB. Right, patches. Okay, 13th of August was 1.09, and 1.09 was not popular at all. I absolutely hated it. But that was August. Yeah, 13th of August. Crazy. Look at that spike coinciding with that terrible, terrible patch. You know, the reviews weren't actually doing too bad up until that came out. And the problem with the patch wasn't really the patch itself, it's the fact that people were expecting actual fixes to the game, you know, actual improvements, quality of life stuff. Again, a simple surrender button, a simple timeout penalty for people deserting. How hard can that be? And I'm really not surprised that actually, look at that, 187 negative reviews. immediately after that update came out. I mean, when did 1.09.1? I mean, that didn't really change anything. That came out 27th of August. Let's have a look. Yeah, no significant change there. Actually, it got more positive. I mean, yeah, peaks and troughs are normal, but this is obviously not an outlier. Right, yeah, compared to when the game first released as well. Look at that humongous spike. I just want to see that. Yeah, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. People have been asking for these simple fixes like a penalty and surrender option. Look at that, since the 22nd of June. And we are now in the 3rd of September. Quite a long time. Quite a long time has passed, and you can't help but think that after all these sales, after these amazing sales, and after the amazing performance the game had, what have the devs been doing? Because it doesn't feel like much.
Hey fellas! Look what I found in my pocket! Look! A year's salary right here! What I call them? Fun coupons! See that? A fun coupon!
Right, okay, let's have a look at, basically, I just want to prove my point, you know. These are the numbers. So here is when the game was first released with the Vanguard edition, only 3 days early. Again, a bit annoying that it's only 3 days early, but yeah. Oh, DLC. There's no DLCs yet, is there? Let's just have a quick look at what that. Oh, the Vanguard edition. Okay, wouldn't really call it a DLC. Really, just a bit of a support to the devs, which they ripped us off an extra tenner for not much in return. But yeah, if you look at the average, so there's the actual release. The game released on a Wednesday, wasn't it? No, 19th of June, Thursday. And then obviously the weekends are the big spikes. So obviously makes sense. A lot more people have free time on the weekends. Interest faded rather quickly, but sort of, yeah, has been gently falling downhill up until its lowest point, which is actually, whoa, today or yesterday. Crazy. That is actually crazy. I think people are just getting absolutely fed up with the game, and I am too as well, to a certain extent. Let's have a look again. That 13th of August was that dire 1.09. Very disappointing. A bit of a spike downwards. Very small but significant spike downwards during the week, because if you look here, remember the week is actually pretty steady and the weekends are, yeah, different. Anyway, and ever since then it's just been going down and down and down. Very big shame. And what I want to show you as well is a little comparison to another game called Warno. Now Warno is absolutely in Broken Arrow's shadow. However, what's interesting to me is this little spike, this little glimmer of hope for Warno at the end there. So look, from a steady sort of between 1,000 and 800, okay, yeah, the game really took a dive there. Oh, not really, actually. People, I guess, didn't really care. Yeah, and then a little spike towards the end here where, you know, players are just losing interest in Broken Arrow. So I don't expect Warno to ever, you know, do anywhere near as good as Broken Arrow has been doing. But if we look at the past month especially, or the past week even, well, let's just look at the past month. There we go. Whilst this is dipping, this is spiking. Very interesting to see. But yeah, that's enough about the sort of slight downfall of Broken Arrow. There's a lot of other problems that we could talk on about, but I actually want this to be a positive video. Now, just before I get to the optimistic part, there's something else that we have to mention, that with the lower amount of viewers, of course, wait times are going up, and I think, you know, they're just not balancing the elo very well either. I actually, just before recording this video, I had a game where there's 5 of us, obviously with elos ranging between 1500 and 1800, versus a team ranging with a lot of elos that were from like 900 to, give or take, let me think, it was like 1,300 with one guy at 1,700. And you just think, why on earth are we being so unfairly balanced, even when there's such long waiting times? Anyway, it's just a bit of a shame, and it means that the games can be very unbalanced and very unfair, and, to be honest, very easy. Alright, enough negativity. Let's talk about some more optimistic things about Broken Arrow, and Broken Arrow wins. some great things about Broken Arrow are, firstly, you know what, the game itself. I'm not going to talk about the game itself, you guys have played it. If you're watching this video, you've probably already played the game, so I'm not going to have to sell it to you at all. But let's talk about some things you might not be fully aware of. BA Hub. Not the hub that you're thinking of, by the way. Let's keep it clean, this is a family channel. But yeah, anyway, BA Hub, and this is actually a community made website, which, I mean, this is pretty impressive for what a website. It's like a BA wiki but better, which allows you to see that your actual in-game stuff. Right, 61% win rate, that's really cool to see, because I wish, you know, the default game would actually just show you all the stuff in the game, but unfortunately we don't get that, and that's quite nice. Okay, nice to have a positive KD, even though it doesn't really matter, you know, losing troops for the sake of capturing objectives is worth it. And you know what, it's just really interesting to see all of the bits and bobs out here. Luckily it's not showing my dropout rates, because that would be actually pretty high, and the problem is, you know, if I see one person, two people dropping out, deserting a battle, I know I'm not going to win 3 versus 5. I don't see the point in wasting the remaining 8 players team, and we may as well quit. You know, if there was a surrender button,
I surrender!
I'd absolutely surrender, but unfortunately that's not an option. Oh, good supply efficiency. What does this mean? So yeah, this is, I'm not paid by BA Hub or whatever. This is just, you can look at your personal stats. You can look at a lot more stats, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, it's sort of the stuff that you do, things that you need to work on. So clearly, I think potentially objectives is something that I need to work on. I would like to see, oh, here's my elo progression, bit of a dip here. 1400 after lots of losses in a row. Bit of a spike here as well. What is my highest elo? I'm not sure, but yeah, I am here towards the, well, you know, towards the end of this sort of skewed distribution. It's a positively skewed distribution with it tailing off at the end. That is pretty standard across all games, and that's how it should be. We have got the number of maps we've played, and I will be actually making a video about maps, so stay tuned for that, but basically talking about which maps are good. Clearly I quite like Baltisk, which is interesting, but I've played on all of them, and yeah, let's look at the generic stats that you can have. If you're already all over this, you know this, feel free to skip this chapter, but we're going to look at some generic stats once it loads. It's been a bit slow. So there we are, we've loaded it, and it shows us the leaderboard, so the top players in the world, which is crazy that he's got such a high elo for, to be honest, not the highest rank that I've seen. I mean, these guys have much higher ranks. I've played a lot more, but this guy, Vsiomat, he's doing something well, something correctly, clearly, with a relatively low level and the highest elo in the world, apparently. So we can see his stats as well. You can look at anyone's stats, including your own, of course, and it shows you what's good. So 77% win rate, that's really impressive. Yeah, clearly knows how to play the game pretty well. It's interesting that his KD is 1.09, similar to me, so maybe I'm a future top 1 player. No, just kidding, no chance of that. And yeah, let's have a look at some of his other stats. Yeah, his elo changing up and down there. Okay, KD, he does take more objectives than me. He's got much better supply efficiency. Not sure about combat efficiency, and obviously one of the highest win rates I've seen. In terms of maps, he is not as big a fan of Baltisk as I am, clearly, but does love a bit of airbase, which is interesting to see. Now, a lot of these top elo players just end up playing each other. As we can see, his elo doesn't change by much sometimes, which means that he's obviously playing in a very high elo game, and if he plays with low elo players, it's going to drop by a lot. So yeah, interesting to see there. 16 minutes somebody dropped out. Cool. Let's look at some more statistics, shall we? So yeah, great thing is this is all a community page, and look how cool it is to see all this sort of stuff. Here's the distribution of elo players, so we are currently just here in the top sort of, well, top 5,000 I think of the world, which is interesting. I like to have a pie chart, and this just shows us the units that the specializations that people like to use. So the top picks, more people in general I think play with America, but that means more inexperienced players as well as experienced. And yeah, Armored Brigade, so American tanks and American Special Forces, are obviously the top picks. Then the Russian Armored Brigade and Moto Infantry, which is interesting because I would have actually expected it to be mechanized. No, sorry, that is correct. I do prefer motorized to mech. Strikers up there as well. So yeah, this isn't surprising at all. These are the specializations that I like to use as well, to be fair. Although I do love the VDV. Where's the VDV? Not even... Right, there we go, 9%. I am a very big VDV fan, so it is a bit disappointing to see it not as high. Where's Coastal as well? Coastal is great. Wow. Coastal is actually fantastic. That's surprising to see people not use it as much. But anyway, the community is great. And another thing that we should talk about community is... wait, I'll just keep showing you BA Hub a little bit more. So yeah, there's the nice balance of Russia versus America wins. As we can see, Russia is still winning more, even after the little update that they did. The most common battle is obviously Russia versus America. Not many people like mirror matches. USA versus USA is high because more players play USA, so it's not surprising there. Now, red is Russia, America is blue, and across the board, we can see that Russia wins a lot more. Interestingly, the only maps that Russia does not win more at is Dam and Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is the most surprising one to me by far, because I find American players complain about Kaliningrad, about Russian RT spam a lot more, but clearly the stats are quite clear. There's a sort of, you know, it's close, but Airbase is the closest one. Interesting. So Airbase is arguably the most balanced. Black Coast, maybe the most disbalanced map for Russia for some reason. I don't know why, but that's how it be. Maybe good Russian players prefer Coast, who knows? But it's very interesting to look at these stats. I would love to see someone do like a master's thesis or something like that on it. That would be very interesting. Where's Chkalovsk Air Base? Oh, that is Chkalovsk. Okay, yes, almost 50-50, which makes sense because those forests are quite difficult to navigate. Airports, yeah, favored by Russia by quite a fair margin, or over 6%. Interestingly though, the draw rate is pretty standard across the board. It's basically between 3.5% and 4%, which is pretty consistent. So very consistent draw rate across the board. Here's the most played and hence most popular maps. Baltiysk Airport, Suwalki Gap, and Kaliningrad, with Klaipeda as the top 5. I'm surprised by Klaipeda. Klaipeda? Yeah. I was expecting Airbase or Riga Airport to be... oh, Riga is up here, okay. But like I said, I'll be doing another video about this in the future. Right, enough about that. Let's talk about more community stuff in the Steam Workshop. So here's just a mission that I've picked out at random. I haven't played it yet, but I will do. What I love is people actually really trying, you know, really, the user interface for making missions is pretty good, and clearly people are keen to try and do some stuff. So thank you people like Risk for making these fun missions for us all to try. Let's look at the most subscribed. So Zombie Defense, I've played that. You can see a video. I'll link that as well. Test Your Deck, that's obviously very popular. Yeah, a lot of great maps that you can... European units, okay, so yeah, allowing you to play some of the Leopards, and that's something that I'll talk about as well for the future. But yeah, great that, you know, Workshop I think is underutilized. People should check out the Workshop a lot more, because there are some really good missions. That obviously there's some terrible ones in there too, but yeah, there's some really good missions that you can try out, which are good fun. Now the next thing I would like to talk about, to give you a bit of enthusiasm, huzzah, right, is things to look forward to. Now the probability of the next expansion, so obviously we're looking at future countries, well actually there's still quite a lot of Russian and American units that are in the game, secretly, but we can't use them. And yeah, those units are really cool, especially when you look, I'll put it on screen here. Have a look at these. So KA-50, the Alpha Group, women snipers, interestingly. For the Americans, the F-14 Tomcat. I'm pretty sure that was in a trailer or like a, you know, promotional poster kind of thing. And I thought it was going to be in the game on launch, but it isn't. So yeah, lots of good stuff, as well as hovercraft. So hovercraft are super cool, and they're going to be in the game eventually. And from what I've read, they're going to be in multiplayer. So amphibious landings, etc., are actually going to be a lot more interesting. So let's talk about some of the units. I'm going to actually show you some of the units that they have in game secretly already. So here's some of the units that are not actually in the game, but they are in the game. Let's see at the markings on this. He's not American, is he? No. Okay, so yeah, okay, that's just an F-15 Eagle EX, so Eagle 2. Now, what have we also here? So these things are fine. Vilkas. Now we know that that's available in this campaign, in the story mode. We've seen that before. So that's Estonian army, I believe. We also have, what's this? This scimitar. Now, I'm not familiar with this bit of kit. It looks British, to be honest, actually. Wait, am I... Is it British? Am I being slow? If it is, it's a bit old, but yeah, not to worry. Potentially it's just been renamed something else. It looks like one of those fighting vehicles that we have that I've forgotten the name of, or used to have. Vickers? Yeah, it looks like a Vickers, doesn't it? Anyway, so yeah, that's a really cool unit. This is just like the Paladin, but I mean, I don't really notice any difference. The paint's a bit different, I suppose. What do we have here? CV9035. Now that's a Swedish, if I'm not mistaken, vehicle. Jazzy paint scheme on it, but yeah, looks pretty cool too. Now we get to the more, yeah, NATO units. That's what they are. So yeah, kind of, I mean, what's the difference here with this war pig? No, it looks the same, and the battleship is the same too. Cool, okay. Right, the more interesting part, I think, is that these units are in development, but look what we have here, a Leopard 2A7. So yeah, beautiful vehicle, beautiful tank. It's really cool that it is actually in the game, and it is, as you can see, a playable unit. I love this model, and that's something that we have to look forward to in the game. I feel like Germany might be, maybe not the first DLC, but, you know, one of the first. Here's some more leopards, sorry, I know I say it a bit weird, on a train, so that's really cool. I haven't seen that yet. That's very, very cool indeed. Now, the Panzer Haubitze 2000, so Germany's, in War Thunder these days, Germany's arty. Very rapid firing, it will be the most quickest firing unit in the game. I do really like the look of it, actually. Beefy little cannon there. With the attention to detail on the models in game is fantastic. XA-180, not really familiar with it. It rings a bell. It's obviously German. I'm judging by the fact that it's got the same camouflage. I feel like I've seen it in like a YouTube video before, but I'm not really familiar. This is what the Unimog U5000. Again, not familiar with this vehicle at all. Looks like a Mercedes, like a cheaper Mercedes. Yeah, interesting little supply truck. IL-76, but MD. That is the normal IL-76, but oh, hello, it's got its ramp open. I have not seen that before. Wow, that's really cool. They've even put little details on the inside, and you can actually see out the windows, can you? Let's, no, okay, I ruined it. But I feel like you could see out the windows there, which was super cool. I love the attention to detail in this game. Let me just hide the, there we go, the heads up display, the hood, just to have a look at, appreciate the beauty of this bit of engineering a bit more. And you know what, let's do the same for the Leopard. There we go, great bit of kit. So yeah, so these are the units that we can expect to see in the near future in Broken Arrow, but also some more amphibious units that you might have already seen. And here we have the American LCAC with its, oh well, it's clearly switched on, hence all the smoke. LCAC. I don't know what if the Americans actually say that or not, but obviously you can fit 2 tanks in here, I think. God, what is this noisy thing? Well, that's the Russian Zuber. And that noise... This looks fantastic. I mean, it's cool that it's covered as well. But these miniguns on it, these cannons are lethal. Let me demonstrate how unreal those cannons are by launching some attack helicopters. We've got this little menu. This is a thing you can... Okay, there you go. Look at that. It's beautiful. You can't shoot these down, but look at this. Let's just send some alligators towards it. 4 alligators. Let's see how easily it deals with them. Absolutely shredded root. Just unbelievable. The helicopters didn't have a chance of firing its weapon systems. 4 helis shot down in a matter of seconds. You know what? It's the same story when you try to put some strike craft past it, or let's even get some with afterburners. We're just going to run them past. I don't think they're going to have a chance. Where are they coming from? Alright, there they come. And let's switch the afterburners on the Su-24. Got a feeling they're going to be absolutely toasted. The Zuber is still going to... Oh my goodness. That's yeah, cleaned up even with afterburners rolling past. And obviously in game you're never going to get that many aircraft moving. That is unreal. That is an unreal bit of firepower. I can't wait to see this thing in the game and in action. Just look at that thing. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Cool little radar dome. Yeah, I mean, this is all good stuff. And of course we've got some Navy ships. Now, Broken Arrow, I've already tried to put a lot of planes towards it. It will rip them all apart. Like guaranteed. So these are the aircraft carriers that are in the game, in the missions. There's another one that should be back here. Where is it gone? Let me just see. Ah, my Desantniki. That's what I was doing. I was putting all these IL-76s that I was dropping next to this Arleigh Burke class ship, which was, yeah, eventually they got through, but it shot down, as you can see, quite a lot. Quite a lot did not make it. It's fun to play in these little missions. You can, yeah, you can spawn an infinite amount of paradrops. So I'll just show you guys now. Where are they? Yeah, let's get the IL-76s. 45 with all this infantry on. We're gonna get a big lag spike. Prepare yourselves. That's I can't even. I'm out of points. Can't believe it. They're all gonna start coming and trying to drop paratroopers here, but this is going to shoot them down. It's going to shoot them down quite comfortably. It's got infinite ammo.
Yeah, yeah.
Ripping these apart. Obviously, eventually they will get through just because of the sheer number of them, but it's insane. Beautiful though. All these paradrops do look really cool. Oh, it's got miniguns too. Not good. So if any planes do deploy paras, they're going to get ripped apart anyway. Let's see them fire again. Oh dear. The poor, poor infantry. Ouch. Where are the miniguns? The lag is pretty sensational. Ah, okay, see rams on top. Yeah, all those aircraft, not a chance. Not a chance at all. Yeah, crazy. Let's get all my infantry attacking, just for kicks.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Now, obviously, you know, somebody like me would love to see England being up there, well, Great Britain, or maybe even the Commonwealth forces, because that'd be interesting because we get some wacky stuff like from South Africa, etc. But yeah, or maybe Canada, Australia, New Zealand, you know, that could be an option for Britain. Britain doesn't actually have a big army. It's actually, in the world stage, it's actually pretty tiny. We have a small army, a tiny air force, and, you know, a decent navy, in all fairness, but on the world stage, we are an island, it makes sense. But, yeah, so I'd love to see Britain come out, but in reality, we already know that, like we've just seen, there's German, Estonian, sort of very European units. I expect that Germany will be one of the first DLCs to come out. However, the absolute first that will come out is almost definitely going to be China. I mean, think about it logically from a business point of view. China's a big market, you know, there's 1 point something billion potential players out there, you know, and I guess they need to have some good faith with China after a bit of the controversy of Chinese cheaters. Yeah, there's been some stuff on BA News about that, so feel free to look it up yourself. It's just quite funny, to be honest. But anyway, basically the game accused a very popular Chinese guy of hacking.
Strike me down if I'm lying? That motherfucker's cheating! Take my word!
He wasn't hacking, and yeah, that was it. And I mean, that was basically the massive controversy there, and BA got review bombed for a short while, but as we've seen, they've kind of brought it on themselves. Anyway, some more optimism that we can talk about is the fact that the game developers, even though this was obviously over a month ago now posted, have promised to set things straight. They say they will address all the issues, and once the issues are addressed, this game is going to be fantastic. I really hope to see it absolutely thrive after that point, and we can get some more great games in. So look, they've already clearly got a little system for surrendering. And again, it dazzles me, it absolutely confuses me why they can't just quickly implement it into the game. We'll see how long before the actual update is released, but yeah, look, they've clearly got something in the works. Hopefully we'll see that soon. And here's the penalty for deserting. So yeah, once this is all done, we can look at some other fixes that they feel free to read this. This is just on their Steam update as of the 30th of July, and not exactly new news, but yeah, they really need to get their arse into gear. They've made so much money in the opening sales. Why can't they just fix these things, you know, or hire some extra help, seeing as they're absolutely raking it in? We expected all those fixes to come in 1.09. Clearly that's not happened, so 1.10 should be fantastic. So here we are, we have loaded up that mission where you can try out all of the foreign units that, you know, aren't technically in the game, but obviously they are. So if you look here, there we go, some recon stuff. So the Sentinel, that is, I mean, that's already in the game, but look at these foreign units. So very cheap scouts with very decent launchers and Negev, right? Call of Duty players, sorry, not Call of Duty, Counter-Strike players will know what a Negev is. That is, yeah, a fun bit of kit, and these are all the sort of vehicles that you can bring them out on. So let's do that. Let's bring out some of the vehicles. That is a lot. Whoa, that is a lot of infantry. That's, you know, in the game, but again, technically not in the game. With the MG3, that is actually something I'm quite excited to use. Oh, look, G36, G3, G36 again. I mean, yeah, a lot of cool rifles. Right, other vehicles that we have. So we've covered those. Leopard. Beautiful. Now this is a beautiful tank, and to be honest, I think everyone's been excited to see these in game. Everyone who plays War Thunder absolutely loves these, right? I mean, that is a gorgeous vehicle, to be honest. Right, let's let it shoot an Armata from the front. That is a normal Armata, isn't it? With some markings on it, I guess. Well, yeah, it's an aiming tank. Reserviste, another actual unit that's in the game, but not really. So the Russian reserves. What other things do we have? T-72s. Okay, that's cool, but where's the T-64? Because I know that that's going to be in the game too. Yeah. Cool. We'll try and shoot that with the Abrams. Let's have a look at these guys. Let's get them unloaded. So here's the Humvee in its with the foreign soldiers, the Estonian. Look at these frogmen, they actually look really cool. Let's have a look. Okay, HK416, just a normal rifle there. Just a normal swimmy scouty team with laser recon. So I wonder if maybe one of the DLCs might be NATO stealth forces. What's the damage on these rifles? 3 damage. Okay, pretty standard for a CQB loadout. Oh, tank's firing. Didn't do much damage to the front of the T-14 Armata. Yeah, that can be expected. I wonder what armor it has. Okay, pretty standard for most tanks, nothing special actually, pretty similar, actually less than the Armata, which is a bit surprising for what it is, a 500 to 800 penetration of kinetic. That's decent, but obviously not that effective against an Armata. It'll be a lot more effective against cheaper tanks though. The Armata is obviously, you know, designed to be a fantastic tank. What's its speed as well? 70, not even that fast, which I think is a bit silly because the Leopard's known for being one of the fastest sort of tanks, isn't it? I mean, that's Germany's doctrine. Well, we're slowly chipping away at this T14. We're getting there. Right, okay. Aim time, reload time, again, very standard. Nothing to get too excited about. This missile... Is it a missile? No, it's direct shot. Okay, again, just nothing special. Obviously, having a lot more success shooting in the side of this vehicle. Boom. These spike missiles. Let's get this thing nice and close. See how good those launches are. Let's get these boys out. There's the missile going. Well, decent. Would love to see it do a bit more damage, but that was quite decent. Fire and forget. Ah, okay. I thought it was just a direct fire. Shame that you can get 3 of them. Cool. Like a cheap javelin. Is the Negev opening up? Because, again, from my experience in good old-fashioned... Okay, Negev is down. These infantry are getting absolutely bummed by the reserves. Not good. Okay. Let's move on to the vehicles then. So, yeah, we've had a look at the... Where's that Humvee with that little spike thing? Spike LR. Obviously for long range. Humvee has got that much speed. Terminal guidance. Right, okay. That's cool. Essentially a javelin, isn't it? Same damage as a javelin. Same sort of penetration. Top-down attack. Slightly longer range. Javelins are usually 1,300. So let's put it up there and let's see what it can do. Supporting vehicles. Now, we've already seen the Panzer Haubitze 2000, which has got very fast firing rate. That's what it's known for. So I'll quickly show you that. This is basically the same as the cheaper Paladin, whatever that's called, and I'm not too interested about that mortar. UH-60, cool. Nothing too exciting there. B2 Spirit. Now, I'd assume only America would have that. So I'll just show you how quickly this RT fires. Let's get it launched at the infantry here. Yeah, Humvee's doing decent damage to that. Not sure where it's going to the one at the back though, but you know, whatever floats your boat. And you get 6 shells, that's pretty decent. So RT, fire range, same aim time, but the reload time is a lot quicker. So we're going to see this RT rain down death. Not the most accurate though for such a short range, Christ. I have used it in War Thunder though, a lot of fun, but yeah, that is very fast firing RT right there. So yeah, shoot and scoot. Speed wise, decent, pretty standard. Special, where's that meteorological balloon that I still haven't seen? Where is it? Oh, there it is. It just travels at 5 kilometers an hour, so it is coming. I mean, it's really cool to see. These are... Did they put this in as a meme, you know, against the Chinese balloons that America struggled to shoot down? I think so, and if so, that is hilarious. Well done, Broken Arrow. That's a big win for you right there. Damn. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is a bit of more optimism. And actually, you know what? These are things that I'd love to change in Broken Arrow. And you know what? Like I say, I am absolutely loving the game. It is fantastic. It is the best RTS out there, but it's not perfect. And here's some of the things that I'd actually like to improve. So, look, I'm not French, and I hate throwing in the towel, but for God's sake, just put that surrender button in. And Russians are stubborn. We know that as well. There's the phrase, "Ruski не сдаются." I speak Russian. What a flex, right? Which means Russians never surrender. But just the amount of dropouts, failed games, make this a much-needed feature.
Oh, that's a lot of money, eh? Can I have some money? Money? What the burn
Anyway, so that's part one. That's maybe the biggest bug I have, and obviously I've already talked about it already. Number two, now this is something that should be new in my opinion, and that is fire, so napalm or other things like the grad, so the fire that it shoots. I would like them to last longer, you know, especially depending on the weather. Obviously, if it's broad daylight, it's warm, dry, fire should spread. Now, controversial, I know, because that could get a bit sticky. Well, fire sticking to buildings, right? I understand that. So maybe not. But for things like buildings, you know, if a building catches fire, why does the fire go out? What's putting it out, you know? Okay, maybe a concrete block will just burn on the outside, an empty, abandoned concrete block, but wooden houses like we see in the game, they should burn until they burn down, in my opinion, you know? Same for forests. This could cause a lot of issues, but forests in particular, I think they should just burn a lot longer. And obviously, if it's raining, it shouldn't burn for as long. And this is sort of one of those things that's going to be an extra layer of complexity to the game. But yeah, I think we should have that. So number three, the third thing that I think we should have in the game, two little parts. So two small gripes that I have. This is one of the most realistic, or at least it feels, you know, I'm a serving officer in the British Armed Forces. I think this is super realistic, you know, the way it plays out. But the thing that really annoys me is that you can bring infantry to life with supply. So you have an 8-man squad, you lose 2 infantry, you bring in a supply truck, and look, those 2 magically appear back to life. I absolutely hate that feature. I also hate the fact that you can repair vehicles and, you know, really complicated stuff like helicopters in the field in under 30 seconds. Again, you just bring in a bit supply and they go, voila, as good as new. And yeah, that just really annoys me. It's just, they do so much good work with the realism aspect, you know, really good work, but they just neglect stuff like this, or not neglect, but choose to do stuff like this. How it should work, in my opinion, is that infantry cannot be brought back to life. You should actually be forced to send the injured squad, so that, you know, from 8 to 5-man squad back and bring in a fresh squad. That is the only way I think it should work, which will cause, you know, you to micro a lot more, but also stop people from, I don't know, I think the game feeling unrealistic is probably a bit of an overstretch, but it will make it feel a lot more realistic. You do need reinforcements and you do need reserves, which is something that I really enjoy playing with. I really love playing with reserves, but a lot of people will just sending all their infantry or all their units, get them down to 1 HP, run them back a little bit, repair them, which again doesn't take too long at all, and they're good to go back into the fight, which is crazy. You can't have field hospital, unless you do build a field hospital, I suppose, but even then, it's just a bit ridiculous. Field repair, I think it should be to like 75 or 50%. You can't field repair tanks or helicopters to that brand spanking new standard, and I don't think you should be allowed to. Like, you know, has anyone fixed their own phone before? I fixed my own phone screen before, right? Just I keep dropping my phone all the time, so I've done it quite a few times now, and I think I'm getting good at it, but it still takes me an hour, and obviously the game's 45 minutes. How do you expect to fix a tank in 30 seconds? It just really annoys me. The mechanics in the game are just like world class. If they were real, honestly, we wouldn't have any planes going down at all. But anyway, it's just a bit too quick. I would love to see more unit rotation as opposed to just field repairs and back into the action. Anyway, big rant about that. Point number 4. Mines. So mines and mine fields. To see it, it's a part of Modern Warfare, and unfortunately it's not a part that we can escape. And the thing is, the game does have engineering support vehicles in it, which can clear mines, so why not give us mines? It would be cool that, you know, obviously they'll take a while or whatever to deploy, but, you know, denying the battlefield to enemy troops, or denying huge open spaces of fields to enemy troops is going to be very good. Because don't forget as well, it's actually going to be very difficult to get a mine laying and a mine clearing vehicle in an open field, because you're going to get 80 gems aircraft, etc. firing on you. So it'd be like a very sort of high cost, high reward kind of feature. And also, you know, it'd be cool to have, obviously, infantry, engineers, or engineering vehicles that can clear these. Or, you know, you can have even arty shooting at minefields with cluster rounds, for example, trying to clear them. Or, you know, a cluster round clear, it has 75% effectiveness or something like that, you know. Yeah, so it just gives the engineering troops a bit more purpose as well, as opposed to just being room clearing units, which, again, in reality, engineers are for engineering, not for close quarters fighting. You could also have a cool little feature where once you've detected the mines, that little triangles appear on your map and for your teammates as well. So once they're undetected, they're just hidden, can't even see them. But once they are detected, yeah, you have little triangles appearing so you know when to clear them, etc. And finally, the last thing that I'd love to see in the game is fortified positions. Now, they're actually already in the game, so we already have aircraft bunkers. But they should be much, much, much harder to destroy, because obviously they're built to be shell resistant, and direct hits with big boy bombs are the only things that can really go through them. Units inside also take the same damage, even though, again, small arms definitely can't fire through them. And yeah, so I'd actually love to see bunkers with, you know, limited arcs of fire. So bunkers obviously don't have shooting positions all around them. There should be some with very, very limited arcs of fire, and I'd love to see that. So a really difficult position to destroy, very easy position to hold with even one infantry squad. And I think it just, you know, only on certain maps, don't get me wrong, I don't want this on every map. But again, the aircraft hangar you should be able to shoot just out of the entrance, which is usually just an entrance and exit only. You shouldn't be able to shoot into the side of it like is currently in the game. And yeah, having actual bunkers, machine gun nests, etc. Maybe that'd be more interesting for things like missions. You know, trenches as well. That is a form of fortified position. Just like the mine clearing thing, where I think we should have engineers to build them. I think trenches should be built, you know, anti-tank, dragon's teeth, that kind of thing. I'd love to see that in the game, which would just change the dynamics of battlefields a little bit. Again, not on every map. On some maps I like them just the way they are, but it'd just be a really cool thing to have. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all. That is all I have for you fine, fine people, because look, Broken Arrow is going downhill, and I don't want the game to die. I really don't. I love the game far too much, and I just want to keep playing good games. The best way to play the game is through Discord. So having a 5-stack makes the game so much more enjoyable, and I honestly can't recommend it enough. Feel free to join mine, feel free to join others, but look, it's a much better way to play. I'm going to wrap up the video, but honestly, I do just want to give a bit more of an optimistic look and some hope for the future about the game. A massive thank you to you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. Obviously, we put in quite a lot of hours of recording and editing, so yeah, give me a like, subscribe, whatever. But, you know, if you want to give me some money, I'd appreciate it. You know, Patreon's the way to do that. Links in the description below. Thank you to the current patrons already, so really appreciate you guys. Lucero, War Dodger, you guys are great, especially. Love you lots. Right, that's enough from me today. I hope you enjoyed this discussion video. Let me know if you want me to actually discuss anything else. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.